In a costly clinic, an elderly guy requested assistance. They chuckled at him, but they quickly felt remorse. A homeless man showed up on the front steps of a private medical facility one day. He requested assistance and arrived without an appointment. He will never forget what he went through that day, even if everyone knew him as their previous boss. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. A well-dressed man entered the clinic as the bell sounded. Olga, the receptionist, continued to stare at him, but he informed her that he had come to see the clinic's head, Alexei Fedorovich, and he walked on. In an attempt to stop him, the young woman said she would go into the office and let the boss know that he was being sought. The young woman was left behind as the man walked straight into the clinic's head office. They talked to one other as they headed out together after a short while. Olga attempted but failed to comprehend what they were talking about. All of the center's staff were aware that Alexei Fedorovich had been acting strangely at the clinic, including showing up late for work. He instructed the receptionist not to register any patients for the whole month since he was exhausted and wanted to take it easy so that he could attend his impending marriage ceremony, despite the fact that he was a well-known and extremely skilled neurologist in the city. Alexei Fedorovich went to the clinic one day and informed the staff that he was in extremely bad condition. He clarified that the financial situation he was facing would compel him to close the clinic because he had spent a lot of money on his treatment. Thankfully, he said, a buyer had shown up for the clinic, and he had consented to sell. After wishing them luck and expressing the hope that everyone would keep their jobs with the new clinic owner, he departed. Everyone on the staff was taken aback by their boss's remarks since they had no idea the clinic might go bankrupt so quickly. They were deeply sad for his plight. Through timely salary payments, good treatment, and assistance to anyone who seemed to be experiencing a particular issue, the guy had consistently demonstrated love and respect for each and every employee. When the workers got together, they proposed that they help their old employer, but the majority of them declined. Alexei Fedorovich was a well-known neurology professor. He had first worked at a modest clinic, but after proving himself, he was given a job offer at a private clinic, which he took because it paid more. The clinic had all the equipment needed, thus the working circumstances were suitable. The doctor quickly discovered that the clinic's head was avaricious and aimed to increase revenue by charging more for tests and exams. Despite his initial reluctance, he was compelled to accept the offer since he needed the money. He eventually saved up enough money to open a municipal office of his own. He studied accounting and handled everything by himself because he lacked the funds to recruit employees. He was eventually able to create his own clinic with brand new, cutting-edge equipment when he was 40 years old. He was overjoyed that his wish had come true. He met Diana, who was 5 years younger than him, a few months earlier. After falling in love, they made the decision to be married right away. But despite his fiancée's efforts to convince him, the man's health issues led him to refrain from consuming wine. He insisted that she stop drinking completely, but she refused. He disclosed to his fiancée that he was deeply indebted and in financial ruin. He barely made enough money to pay off his obligations after selling his clinic for a very cheap amount. He went on to say that because his health was becoming worse every day, he would have to sell his residence to pay for the therapy he would receive overseas. Once hearing her fiancé's shocking remarks, Diana asked him if he would sell the flat so they could move in together once they were married. She was somewhat dissatisfied when he informed her that they would look for a solution by renting an apartment. Alexei Fedorovich went one step further and advised his fiancée to call off the planned celebration so they could save money for his medical care. But Diana flatly refused. The young lady had already sent out invitation cards to her family, friends, and acquaintances, adding that they would have a lavish party and that she would love to marry a wealthy guy. Diana approached Alexei the following day and informed him that she would not marry him because she was not prepared to carry on their relationship. She left Alexei Fedorovich's apartment without returning the costly presents he had given her, taking her possessions with her. Alexei had never imagined that the young woman he loved had picked him for his money, so he was taken aback by her response. However, when she vanished from his life, he felt at peace and relieved to have witnessed her true character. A few days later, Oleg Viktorovich, the new clinic director, showed in. The attractive man dressed elegantly and took good care of himself. Eager to see what the new owner would do with the clinic personnel, Olga welcomed him with a big grin and gave him tea right away. Oleg Viktorovich told the staff that while he would update some of the clinic's equipment, he would leave the rest in place and keep an eye on how things altered over time. While the workers carried on with their daily tasks, the guy brought in some new furniture and equipment. To the satisfaction of the new president and the staff, the clinic's clientele grew dramatically after 6 months, resulting in huge profits. But the former president had disappeared, and since then, no one had heard anything new about him. A homeless man with ragged clothing and an outdated hat came to the clinic one extremely cold winter day when it was snowing a lot. The clinic security allowed the unfortunate man in to warm up after noticing that he was shivering in the chilly weather. It was evident that the man was Alexei Fedorovich as he came in and took off his hat. When Olga questioned him whether he had registered, he said that he hadn't and that he had merely come inside to avoid the bitter cold. The young woman then came up to him and requested him to leave right away, explaining that the clinic was not a homeless shelter. Explaining that he had neither money nor housing and only wanted to warm up before departing, Alexei pleaded with his former coworker for pity. The guard argued with Olga after she requested him to take Alexei Fedorovich out before the affluent patients who were coming at the clinic noticed him. The other employees were shocked to find their former boss in such a state when they came out to check after hearing the noise. At first, the staff decided to throw the homeless guy out onto the street, but then a female employee, who was taken aback by the responses of her co-workers, criticized them, calling them ungrateful for forgetting the nice treatment they had gotten while Alexei was the clinic's director. Oksana, a medical analysis department employee, chastised her co-workers, reminding them that they even had positions at that clinic because of Alexei Fedorovich. As Oksana approached the homeless guy and offered to take him to her house after her shift finished, everyone grew silent and went back to work. Until the young woman's labor was done, the male remained there. And he went to her house with her. Because she was fixing her house at the time, Oksana informed her previous supervisor that it was not in excellent shape. The man said he didn't mind when she apologized. She brought him a hot supper when they got there, and they ate together. Even in his wretched state, the young woman, who had long liked Alexei Fedorovich, was content to be with him as they continued their conversation. Alexei had visited her mother in the hospital many times, gave her free treatment at the clinic, and even paid for her ongoing care at another facility in Moscow. Although she had never spoken it, Oksana had feelings for him and was quite devoted to him. Oksana stood in the path of the man's departure after he finished eating, reminding him of the bitter weather and extending an invitation for him to stay overnight at her house. She brought him tea with honey and continued to tend to him after seeing that he was coughing a lot. Observing the modest and attractive young woman, the man was reassured by her reticent appreciation. She made many attempts to grab his attention, and while they sat together and watched a romantic film, their relationship deepened. They eventually decided to stay the night together. But Oksana discovered he was gone when she awoke in the morning. She hurried out onto the street in the hopes of finding him, but he had vanished entirely. Despite her disappointment, she was thankful that no one knew what they had discussed that evening since she saw it as a personal memory to let go of. A week later, Alex Viktorovich called a meeting of the whole clinic staff to make a significant news. With a sigh, he informed the staff that he had chosen to fire a few of them for subpar work. The workers looked at each other anxiously, terrified, and all of them wanted to stay in their jobs. Viktorovich said that certain staff members would be compensated handsomely for their hard work. As everyone waited to learn who would stay and who would go, the tension increased. After then, Viktorovich declared that someone would enter and read the list of workers who would be let go. Everyone's eyes were downcast and anxious. They were shocked when Alexei Fedorovich arrived, wearing a dapper suit and sporting his signature hairdo from his tenure as director of the clinic. The crew exchanged shocked glances, wondering how the former vagabond had managed to revert to his previous position and looks. Alexei smiled at everyone, apologized for any inconvenience, and explained that he and Alex Viktorovich had made a deal wherein he would run the clinic for a while Viktorovich went to a nearby city to start a new project, which was a clinic branch. As it turned out, Alexei had gone to Moscow for a month of therapy, returned, and opened a second clinic branch with plans to employ more workers. The man said that he had been assessing the staff members' loyalty to see whether they would continue to be reliable. Then, pulling a list out of his pocket, Alexei listed out the names of various workers, including Olga, who had sent him away when he came in as a vagrant. He gave them instructions to pick up their last paychecks and permanently depart the facility. In the meanwhile, he made Oksana the clinic's director, giving her complete control over its operations. As Oksana came home to get ready for her ideal wedding, Alexei approached her and declared his desire to wed her. The entire team was there at the happy ceremony that shortly followed Alexei and Oksana's marriage. Alexei then moved in with his new wife, the only person who had been nice to him during his dark period. He came to the realization that she was the partner he had always dreamed of having in his personal life and in running his clinics. Alexei purchased her a new apartment, and the two of them shared it. Thank you for viewing. Kindly give the video a like and spread the word on social media. We'll be back soon with new material for you to enjoy. Be back. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.